Hi there, it's Kevin with Gonro Games, here with a box opening plus a rant video. I thought I'd combine the two rather than walk around with the camera. I know those are the more popular videos. Don't know why the YouTube algorithm seems to push the ones where I just rant into the camera while I walk around the store and talk about nothing. But this one actually has a little bit of point because we have some 151 that is out, and I will kind of go over the discussion I had on Discord with the patrons about 151 and why it really sucks to be a little store at the moment, where I'm starting to blame distributors too to being part of the problem of why it's very unviable right now for a small local game store to exist in the noise of all of the big box sellers, the larger metropolitan area stores that are able just to capitalize on having just massive amounts of population, and see the what I like to call the soulless online sellers that don't have any like skin in the game as far as it's concerned with creating any sort of play area or community. They just buy from distributors and then blow it out on TCG Player, and it's really really tough to compete with an operation that's so streamed like that has one vision in sight, which is just to get product and to push it out online. And again, if there's lots of people that I'm friends with that do that, I mean, more power to you. I think there's better outlets, there's better things to sell at that point. But I think that all three of those big categories are really, really making it difficult for the small local game stores that used to have kind of an edge, because the stores or the manufacturers like Pokemon and Magic would kind of really scratch our backs with promos and better deals and ways to make sure that we got certain amount of supplies, especially sets. When I started this gig, it was actually really lucrative to be a small store, because we did get I would even say a disproportionate amount of the good stuff, like Eternal Masters. I remember when Eternal Masters came out, it was heavily allocated, and the biggest allocation was just if you were a store, you got like X amount, so you got your guaranteed 12 or whatever it was. And so it was it was really good for small stores because they were able to then be able to push that product online and be able to recoup some of the costs of doing business and be able to stay competitive when you don't have just a massive population like some of the areas that do exist a lot for niche stores too, just people that were actually, like I said before, putting skin in the game, making table space and an area for community to play. I think should have an advantage over the rest of the kind of the market that's going on right now. So unfortunately with 151, and big shout out to Tavian, he's sponsoring this video for the Scarlet Violet 151, because I just don't have enough of these to justify opening a box myself. So I'm glad it can actually go to a patron who wants to enjoy this product. However, where was I going with my line of thought here? 151 is just the absolute worst example of what I say is going on right now in the distribution line of how money talks more than anything. So I've noticed, and okay, I'll just go through a little bit of transparency with this. Some of this is on me because I wasn't the greatest at getting. There are certain distributors who are just absolutely anal with hitting those pre-order windows of when they when you submit your pre-orders, because there's two particular distributors, not going to name names exactly how they work, that just allocate based on a percentage base, and you have to get your pre-orders in like months in advance. This one had to be in at the end of June with one of the distributors. I think at that point we barely knew anything about Scarlet and Violet 151, and so that was a massive pre-order window before you had to have locked in your numbers you wanted, and without seeing what's in the set. This could have been another Shining Fates flop, and this is the kind of attitude that I've had with Pokemon, is I've played it very conservative, especially the last set's just being absolutely abysmal. I'd even say that Celebrations wasn't the greatest seller, and that was kind of the end of the pandemic era for that one. There's a lot of dead product, and things started to crash towards the end. And then you have things like the UPC Charizards. That's another one that people are like, well, Kevin, you should have foreseen this. Well, I got burnt, pun intended, I guess, on UPC Charizards. UPC Charizards, I remember ordering at a higher rate, and then they were getting blown out for like under $75, and ended up having to sell for a loss for some of the Charizards, just because I could reorder them at that point. Might as well not keep an inventory of Charizards, or just at least sell them off to patrons that want them the more discounted price at that point. So 151, maybe it was not. People thought it would be a knock out of the park, but with the information I had, with the last three sets just being abysmal, I don't know. Pokemon's just been an extremely bear market for trying to, especially like a week or two out, where product just absolutely crashes and is going for like 20% less than what it was during the pre-order window. So that's those two distributors. That was kind of my bad with not really jamming those numbers home and taking a risk on it. Again, I explained why I didn't. The other ones, though, the other distributors told me after having conversations with them, they were just pretty upfront with me. You have to do a lot of business with them for Pokemon, for the non-specialty products, to be able to get products like Scarlet 151. And what I think that does, again, sets a bad precedent for small stores or smaller operations, because a lot of times we don't have the overhead or the capital to really risk based upon our overhead and all the other expenses that it takes to actually run a game store, to risk on products to then be able to blow it out online. Now, again, the operations that are just out of their warehouses or out of their stores that just get product, blow it out, they don't mind as much when a product loses, because they're just all about volume, 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 volume. And so order as much as possible, cross your fingers, hope it sells. If not, you take a loss on the products that do, and then you actually take a big win on the products that do well, because at that point you get more allocations than everyone else, because you've ordered. If you're going through distributors and they're solely based on what has been purchased in the past, not on players that attend the store, not on like events, not on that type of stuff, then it is advantageous at that point just to be constantly blowing out products at either a loss or at a small or at break even or at a small loss. So once you can get those extremely hard to get products, that's when the profit margins come. And again, it's just pushing stores for that business model, where it's almost like you have to have that element as a store now. And again, a lot of store owners don't have that really mindset, myself included, where I didn't. And maybe this might sound a little prissy here, but I didn't sign up to be like a massive online seller for, just do, thousands upon thousands of volumes at cost, and just have this, at that point you have to basically a warehouse assembly line with how you do it with the packaging and whatnot. And I don't know, that is just where I'm pretty miffed about how, just in my small lifetime as being a store, how that attitude from distributors and manufacturers has changed from really supporting the small guy and trying to support small communities, because they valued that even though little tiny towns like Richfield, Utah, it is probably good in the best interest of Pokemon and Magic the Gathering to have their games represented there, to try to eke out as big as community as possible and try to support as many game stores as possible, so people actually can enjoy playing the game. These tabletop games were more about the gathering rather than, like online games that are just about getting as many eyes and people playing online. So that's kind of my rant with Pokemon 151. I know people just probably want to get to the openings here, but it's something I'm going to have to come to terms with and adjust and just start to do a lot more volume, and maybe just bite the bullet and just realize that I have to have more of this like push out products, just get rid of everything, just go all in on a set, get rid of everything, clear the books, rinse and repeat. It is just two people that have the store, like we can't justify bringing on employees or whatnot, because there's just not enough reason to do so. But at this point it might be time to get like a part-time or a full-time person just to do packaging all day long, just if we're going to be able to get the numbers. So anyway, that's what I've been talking to my patrons, is it's just some real talk. If we're going to be able to get these exclusive, or not exclusive, but these more hard to get items like the Scarlet and Violet 151, which actually I think is going to be very similar to Crown Zenith. I think they're going to print the death out of this stuff, so I would not be holding this product right now. If you have it and you're looking to flip it, now's the time to flip it. I wouldn't wait. I don't think this is a product that's going to go up, because they're going to continue to print Scarlet and Violet 151 the same way they did Crown Zenith. So, where was I going with this train of thought? Don't know. We are just rambling at this point. Everyone is loving the nostalgia. Pokemon, I guess, is really trying to hit on the nostalgia. They have another product called Pokemon Classics. It's going to be a $400 box set, which apparently sold out in 15 minutes on the Pokemon online store. And then stores are getting very, very few of them. The allocations are going to be incredibly low. So the nostalgia and the FOMO is now what Pokemon is ramping up with, which I don't agree with. I think that games need to focus back on really making the game shine. And that should be, the mechanics and wanting people to play the game. And those games will sell themselves. I don't think they really need to start pushing on this FOMO garbage, because FOMO is something that is not sustainable. Because what I've said in some of the other videos, I call it FOMO. I can't think of the word that I call it. Hey guys, I came up with a new phrase, but now Kevin's brain is dead because it's late at night when I'm doing this. FOMO creeping. That's the word that I like to use for it, because each set has to be more special than the other set. So I mean, look at 151. They really pushed this whole classic thing when they literally just did celebrations, which was just a 25 year. And then even like Champion's Path, like these ones were supposed to be the big FOMOs of their ears, and they just keep like, how are they going to outdo this set now? I mean, they've done Charizards and Pokemon and Pikachu's UPCs and things like crazy to try to get people to think, oh, it's never going to happen again. But even Obsidian Flames, I think, was a big wake up call that, you know, Charizards that see heavy play in competitive Pokemon actually can't even drive the sale of a set. That's how bad Pokemon is, like the shape of Pokemon, when they're trying to transition their game over from, you know, the hugely insanity that went with the crypto collecting, that then started to get into Pokemon, like the Logan Pauls and all the other celebrities that were, you know, cracking packs and all the stories too. That's I really think ran away with this Dutch tuliping with Pokemon 151, is like all of these not Wall Street Journal, but those type of things, like these big how to make money forums started talking about these $1 million Pokemon business out of your basement and showing people with gun cases full of Pokemon cards, and, you know, all the people that were making, you know, 8 figures on whatnot selling Pokemon cards, and then everybody and their dog decided to get into it. Now, again, more power to you if you're the type of person that does that, but I'm going to be a little snarky here, and I'm going to be a little bit of a, like I said, a little bit prissy here, that I think the main people that should be in that industry should have skin in the game in some form of having, you know, places to play and organizing communities. Otherwise, it's just adding to even more noise. And when there's too many cooks in the kitchen, then there's not enough people to eat the food. And I think that's kind of the era that we've got into with Pokemon. So I think that it all needs to kind of level itself out. And I wish that the buck really does stop with the manufacturers and the distributors with, if they value stores or not. This is, you know, how it's going to have to work, is they're going to have to make sure that stores can be competitive in these markets with these, like I said, the massive online selling presence, that the people that are just doing it, you know, out of their basement, out of their gun closets, those type of things. So anyway, let's get on to the Pokemon 151 now that I'm 12 minutes into the rant and finally getting to the product opening. So this one was the Elite Trainer. I think Elite Trainers cost like $35 for patrons. I think these are supposed to sell for MSRP, so the spread on like MSRP from the distributor to the manufacturer distributor to stores is already pretty abysmal. This book is actually not even plastic. It is paper. Don't know how durable it's going to be. I don't know if this is a cost-saving thing or whatnot, but there's the player's guide for the 151. And you got this sleek little box for the Pokemon, which is going to contain the packs and the dice as usual. So in this one, you are going to get, I believe, 8 packs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 packs in here for, oh yeah, because they added the 1 pack, didn't they? They used to have 8 packs and they have 9 packs. I don't know why it doesn't have 10 packs, since 10 would be a nice number for here. So yeah, got the sleeves that come with these. These are kind of, there used to be a market for these Pokemon sleeves. I guess you do wait in long enough, there is a market, but they're pretty terrible quality. I think if they would have done a little bit better quality for these sleeves, then you would have a good market. You know what actually does have a market? We actually sell a ton of these, is dividers, like Pokemon dividers. When Pokemon's hot, people have bought, especially it was the Charizard one from Champion's Path. We were selling like just the dividers out of the Champion's Path in lots of like, you know, 10s for like $5 is what they end up going for. So for this one, we have the Snorlax. So Snorlax is going to be the card that they're going to, yep, they put it on the ETBs as well, so it makes sense there. And we have the dice. Not sure if I'm a big fan of these dice with the gray. Gray's kind of hard to read on the white. So the white on the gray, and then of course the energy, nothing special with the energy here. It is what it is. So that is another thing that was doing pretty good. The energy with the people trying to move over to all silver energies. I dropped something here. 1 second. You gotta see. There we go. And we'll get to opening these packs. So let's get to opening the first pack for 151. I know there is a lot of cards that are actually chase cards right now. I know Mew is seeing quite a bit of play in, well, at least theory crafting, because there isn't any tournament data right now for 151. It just releases tomorrow, actually, so that is why there is no. Let's see if we can zoom in here on the packs. My lighting's a little screwed up for this one. Should have come prepared for this. 1 second. I'm going to go turn off a specific light. Think that will look a little better. And we'll go through these a little bit quick, and then we'll just start getting the packs, but otherwise this will be an hour-long video, and everyone's going to be we just wanted to see Kevin open up Pokemon. Oh, looks like we have a hit right off the bat with the pack, so we got a ride on. And we got the Wigglytuff EX, so off to a really good start for good old Wigglytuff. Which has, if you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn, it does 90 more damage. Stage 1, though, so it only does 180, but have a special energy. It's a massive, big boy. 350 HP, which is actually pretty big. So I actually did play Pokemon there for a bit. I haven't played Pokemon since Paldea evolved, so I haven't even played it during Obsidian Flames. So, but I have built quite a few Pokemon decks and had some fun with it. So it'll be fun to explore it again. So Pokemon here is pretty come and go. We'll have, I think we had 20 people playing in our league for Scarlet and Violet when it came out, and then it just kind of died off. People got kind of bored of it. Hey, and then we have a Chansey, which that goes into No, it doesn't. Does it? No, Jigglypuff goes into Wigglypuff. Yeah. Chansey's its own thing. Boomer Kevin doesn't know his Pokemon. Okay, so Mew is good in here, and I believe Blastoise is the other chase card. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even have enough time to look through what Magic has released, let alone Pokemon. So we got the Machop, one of my favorite Pokemons, and it's a grabber because everything in Pokemon is a adult toy. All right, so we got Rapidash, we got Kabutops, and we got these special energy. Apparently, these are actually quite common in the Pokemon 151, as they have I love how it is. This is literally galaxy foiling. This is the same process that Magic uses. So I think that whoever they use, like the card Mundungi or whatever the manufacturer that makes both Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards, they'll come out with like a new foiling process and pitch it both to Pokemon and to Magic, because you'll get a lot of the same treatments out of those. So that is literally a galaxy foil. Alrighty, on to the next pack. We got the Tentacool, Rattata, Squirtle. So yeah, I should be familiar with most of these, right? I played a little bit of Pokemon. Got the Electrode, and nope, just a basic energy. Womp womp. So I believe Pokemon is still in pretty good shape competitively. Like, they are crushing numbers for view counts, and it's kind of sad that Magic the Gathering can't seem to get their competitive scene back online. When I was a big Magic player, that was what everyone looked forward to, as the Grand Prix, and man, look at that. Little Wigglytuff. Guess we want some Wigglytuffs. Hope this sees play in some sort of deck, because you have two now, Tabian, on the Wigglytuffs. Looking for a Mew, looking for some full arts, some ultra special premium version of cards. Sure, they have the gold ones in here. Looks like we got another one in this one. Pokemon, nope. It's hard to tell right off the bat though, because they make everything foiling. On the back, we got the Beedrill, and yep, another special energy. So, or not special, another galaxy energy. So these are so far not very rare. So the UPCs are coming out a little bit later in October, along with the EX boxes. So those are not out yet. I know a lot of people wanted the UPCs and Elite Trainers. And again, I apologize. I'm going to have to, when these do, it's going to be in the single digits when I do allocate towards patrons. It's the only way it's going to work. We got Mr. Mime. And speaking of which, though, I hate to shill something that right now that I'm struggling even to get enough numbers, but that is something that I probably need to do, is start doing more Pokemon content. And the way we grew Magic was definitely because I had a background in Magic, and I was able to attract a lot of people that also played Magic. And we were able to get our numbers up quite high with distributors right off the get-go with patrons. But Pokemon's always struggled because I've never been in that market, so I've never, really pitched towards Pokemon players. So if you are in the market for Pokemon, I don't want to give you any false... was this a different type of foiling? Just looks like reverse, but this Ditto looks actually pretty sweet with the foiling process on it. I don't want to give everyone any false hopes of getting 1 billion 151 UPCs, that sort of stuff. We're going to have to grind and build up our numbers with distributors, but eventually that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to find a lot of people that want to buy a lot of, of the regular Pokemon product, and if we can churn through it, then we'll be able to have access as a community to bigger stuff. And I will keep a lot of this stuff for our local store. We have some demand for Pokemon but I do not sell online. Everything goes towards patrons. So all of my allocations, it always gets shopped out to patrons. So don't think that I go in. That's why I kind of specifically do that. Not have like a TCG player store, or not have any way to outlet sealed product, because I feel that patrons get first dibs before that kind of stuff. So again, I'd love to have you aboard if you are specifically like a Pokemon collector, because we do need to get these numbers up for Pokemon. So if you're interested, you can go and check out the Patreon, patreon.com/roguedeckbuilder. Basically, what the gig is you're allowed different amounts of products per month, and usually what a product is considered is the equivalent to a booster box. So if you sign up for like the $20 patron tier, then you can get up to 6 products up to a booster case per month. And pre-orders do not count as your allocations. They're just kind of a throw-in because I can't guarantee them. How the process works is you pick out an item that you want to order, you pay me, I order it and ship it, and all is good. That way there's no product that I get stuck with, and it just works out. Like I'm trying to avoid some of the situations I've had with Magic, where I just get stuck with so much dead product like Infinity or Commander Masters and whatnot. So that way it's a little bit of a lag between when you can pay and when you can receive stuff, but it allows that I don't get just flooded with products. So this is a poster collection. So it's going to have all the Pokemon, all the numbered ones and their outlines, it looks like. Kind of sweet if you're into posters. Maybe we'll have to open one of these for the store and put it up. And then this one just has 3 packs. So this one's actually this wasn't this was decently priced. So this was like 11, I believe, is how much this one costs. So the packs end up being a little under 4 a piece, and then you get the poster and you get the promos here. And this actually has, I wonder if these promos will have some value down the road, because you do get the Bulbasaur, the Squirtle, the Charmander, so the OG. It looks like Galaxy foil treatment for the OG. Nope, no Pikachu though. So guess they don't value Mr. Pikachu as an OG. I need to figure out a better setup. I'm like crowding myself in here. All right, so far 2 Wigglytuffs. That was kind of a pretty lackluster ETB, because I definitely mapped these before I start opening them with all the elite trainers that I got, all 6 of them or whatever I got today. Wow, we had a Facebook like business review of someone was accusing of mapping because the single box they bought from us did not have good hits in it. and well, I'm sure this store is box mapping. I'm like, jeez. The amount of like volume we do in Pokemon is so small. Yeah, and like I said, we don't even have an online presence for it, so I don't know where we're box mapping to. Alrighty, on to the next pack. Customers are the greatest, aren't they? We got the Machoke full art. So this is Trainer's Gallery or full art something. Can't remember what they call these, but Machoke. The foiling actually makes this one kind of hard to look at, because you can't really, with the small Machokes everywhere. Kind of distracting at that point, actually. Good old Machoke. And Mew! Well, that pack was good. So boom, this is the card that is supposedly going to shake up standard right now for Pokemon. So allows you for the 3 attack. It's a basic, so of course basic EXs are very good because they're very similar to V. You don't have to evolve into them. And then once it gets the 3 energy on it, you can use one of your opponent's attacks, which there are some very strong attacks that your opponent has. You don't even have to have energy for them or the other prerequisites, I believe. It's just you can use their attacks. And then the restart is insanely good, because once per turn your turn, you may draw cards and have 3 in your hand. So this is a really good card. This is going to be slotted into so many decks. I can already see it going in my Gardevoir deck and in my Darkrai deck, because Darkrai's still looking for and this is a great attack for Darkrai, because you can still, even though it's a little bit hard to get the energy on it, with like the ways to rip it out of your graveyard, it's still a good place to put energy. And there are a few Pokemon that allow you to put like energy on different Pokemon, and it will still count towards Darkrai if it's on your bench. And if not, it's going to be a good attacker you can move from your bench. So really cool card. That is the chase card right now, I believe. In the other full art forms is really where I believe the expensive ones are. But I think that was like a $40 card when I looked at it in the TCG Player. There's not a lot of data though, because TCG Player is kind of strict with the pre-selling of Pokemon cards. All right, we got Electrode, and oh, there we go. We got Zapdos. We got an EX Zapdos. So this one ended up being, the 3 packs out of this one ended up being as good as the entire box of Elite Trainers for the other, or the 151 Elite Trainer. So we got Zapdos. So far so good. What does Zapdos do? Zapdos does, if this Pokemon has a lightning energy attached to it, has no retreat cost. Which is actually really good because that is powerful in the lightning deck that's going around right now. The attack also does 90 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. That's pretty good if you're able to put damage counters with something else. I'm trying to think if Electric has any of those abilities. Like, I know of a couple Psychic ones that can do it. There probably is some electric ones that do it. Doesn't one of the Pikachus, like a flying Pikachu, do it? Or maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, that's a pretty strong attack that you can finish off something that does have damage, as well as put up some damage on the active Pokemon. So I think that, like, this one especially is like they're wanting like ways to burst out some quick damage against like Lost Box type strategies that have, and Gardevoir, that have a lot of weak Pokemon that just sit on the bench for a while until they're set up, and that way you can start shooting them down. But there is still, I'm trying to think of the Pokemon that exists, the bench Pokemon cannot be hit by attacks. That will probably put a damper still on those type of cards. And we have the binder collection. So I'm assuming this is going to be a binder and a collection. Hence the name Binder Collection. It's going to be a collection of things in a binder. So, like a little more of the poster. I can't remember the cost of this sucker. I don't know, but it comes with a full binder, which is kind of cool. So this looks like it's like, yeah, it looks like it's Ultra Pro quality. Oh yeah, this is a nice binder. This is actually cool, because typically these binder collections that come from Pokemon, like when they've done in these box sets, have been trash. They've been like super low quality, and this one's cool. This one's good. So I don't know how much this would cost directly, like if it's Ultra Pro that made this, or yeah, I'm not sure. It doesn't say. Yeah, it just says manufactured by Game Freak, so Pokemon, Nintendo. But yeah, that's pretty solid. This is your typical kind of flimsy binder you get from Ultra Pro. So not quite like the big upscale ones, but typically I think these, if I get it from Game Jack or Ultra Pro, these are like low teens is how much like the branded stuff cost for Magic. I'll have to correct myself if I'm wrong. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So you get that, and you get 4 packs. 4 packs of 151. And no promo cards. And no, doesn't even look like there was a one of these codes either. So you do get 4 packs still from this sucker, and a binder to go with it, which is actually kind of a neat little binder. Again, I'm more of a fan of the not flimsy ones, because the flimsy ones can get crushed. And I think the whole point of a binder is to make sure your cards don't get, crushed. So what does Energy Sticker even do? Woo! Flip a coin of heads, attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. That's actually a pretty good card. Because it's a 50-50 chance. So Beedrill, nothing good there. And we have the next one, which is a Pokemon Live advertisement card. We have. That's one good thing about this game, too, is they don't double charge you for playing Pokemon Online and Pokemon in real life, because the Pokemon packs you buy go towards actually playing online, and all the collectors that don't want these end up like selling these for 5 cents on TCG Player, so it makes it super cheap to play Pokemon Online. That's all they'd have to do with Arena, but no, Magic Gathering is absolutely the most greedy company ever, which I think actually hurts their bottom line, because I think more people would be playing Arena and buying skins and things like that if it was more accessible to play the stupid game and not have to buy the same cards you have online that you do in real life. Okay, so let's go on to, there we go, Erica's Invitation. Erica's Invitation. So your opponents reveal their hands, and you put a basic Pokemon you find there on your opponent's bench. If you put a Pokemon on the bench in this way, switch in that Pokemon to the active spot. So that's pretty cool to snipe down. Might be a little bit tough though, because it has to be a basic Pokemon, and why wouldn't they have it on the bench at that point? I can think of these for back when Luminion was pretty popular, because you want to play it later on at a specific time. And I'm thinking of a few other ones too, like the Gengar would be pretty good, because they were both pretty weak Pokemon. And also, this can be pretty frustrating too, because a lot of decks that ran like Luminion, especially, you wouldn't have any way to retreat it without 2 energy on it or attack with it. So you can actually put a dead Pokemon on their bench that they can't really switch out that easily, and then you can start building up your own stuff. So, and we get a basic energy there. So there's another hit there. So far, not any like ultra rares. These are all double rares, right? Yep, we didn't get any even the Zapdos wasn't a Zapdos was a full art though. Yeah, so this Zapdos was a full art. So these ones were the normal. Okay, that one has the, oh yeah, that's the trainer gallery or whatever it's called. I'm still learning all the Pokemon rarities here. And the last pack of Tabian's lot is going to be good stuff. Hope for the best with Eevee on top. And we have Jigglypuff, Mr. Mime. Just a Mr. Mime. So, not a bad pull, though. It does seem like we had, what, 4 of these Galaxy energies? 5, maybe, of the Galaxy energies. Those are kind of cool. So they give you another foiling process that's easier for people to collect and foil out their energies. And then we had a trainer, the Zapdos Full Art, the Mew, Machoke, Wigglytuff, and Wigglytuff. Not a bad little pull there. So, again, I appreciate everyone for their patience with this. I apologize for not being able to come through so much with Pokemon 151. It's a little bit embarrassing, too. Like, I've had comments like, well, all these other stores were able to get, X amount, like tons and tons and tons of this stuff. Yeah, I understand that. We need to find a better way to get our Pokemon numbers up without the massive risk of me getting stuck with booster boxes that are selling for 20% less than I buy them for. That's kind of the give or take. So, in the future, we'll have to really brainstorm here, and if we can get enough people that want to, buy into the Pokemon, that's the best way for us to just, start increasing numbers in the future. It's kind of a bad time to really get into this as the big wave for Pokemon. Like, when I really started selling Pokemon was during the pandemic, and no one could get anything. Like, every crappy set sold like crazy. Like, people are buying, like, old battle decks that have no relevance anymore just because there was no Pokemon anywhere. And yeah, it was a nutty time, and that's when I started getting into it on the Patreon aspect of things. It was impossible to get Pokemon product, and now that there seems to be supply of Pokemon as far as Obsidian Flames, Paldea Evolved, and even during the Sword and Shield era, it started to get really. Fusion Strike 4 got pretty easy to get Pokemon. It was very, very tough for people to actually want to buy it. Like I said, because like a week later it'd be 20% off of what people purchased it for. So. Eventually, this is going to be unsustainable because it leads to a new price. So people then start thinking in their minds that, like, MG Moxman did a good video about this, where, when people start getting in their minds that 140 is what a collector booster box sells for, because now we've had Dominaria, New Capenna, Baldur's Gate, not like Kamigawa. Kamigawa didn't get, Kaldheim. Like, all of those at one point were dumped on Amazon for 140 or below. So it's got it in people's heads that they don't have to wait that long. So why pay $250 at your local game store for a collector's booster, or even more? Like, MSRP wise, we should be looking at like 340s, 350s for collectors. Like, it cost me about $190 to get a collector's booster for Magic the Gathering. So if we were just going to do regular markups of a 40% markup, 40-50% markup, like I said, you're looking in the 300s of where they should sell for if Wizikos did have an MSRP. And not only that, though, when they're going for 140 on Amazon dumps, it puts just a price memory in people's head that this is what you pay for collectors. And so going forward, people aren't going to buy, and it's going to lead to less sellers, and it's going to have this like feedback loop of not selling until it gets dumped and whatnot. But I don't know, there's some theories that I still have with Pokemon and Magic that they still make insane profit margins on these products, even if they have to fire sell them or go through these massive outlets to get them to people. And unfortunately, though, that really is killing their strategic partners. So if people like stores like myself cannot get these in communities that aren't as represented, like, of course, Walmart will still carry it, but how many people actually get into games because they go to game stores? And that is why I've still on this channel just been beating it home that game stores matter. They matter in the ecosystem of things. They are where people go to play games and to learn about new games and new products too. There have been a lot of sales where people have come into my store and like, oh yeah, I used to play Magic, and they'll pick up a pack or two and then they'll get back into Magic, which leads to a lot of sales. And I think that Pokemon and Magic have not respected that in the last few years, because they think they can just do this direct to consumer, or just really, they've really valued the online sellers that really just push this through. I still don't, in my mind, cannot figure out how it can be worth any, like, it can't be satisfying It can't be like something that you feel. And again, there's just better lucrative outlets. There's better things you could be selling. You know, going this sort of eBay store, TCG player store type stuff. I don't know. I think that a lot of people have got in too deep with it. They put too much infrastructure down, invested too much of it. It's just gonna be time where people realize that this is just a crappy job to just ship cards all day long, to just buy and for very little at that point. But I could be wrong. Maybe the people are making bank. Maybe they are still making their 8 figures out of their gun cases and blah blah blah, which I think was all a bunch of baloney to begin with. Anyway, hope everyone enjoyed this video. This has been Kevin with Gone Rogue Games. Again, appreciate Tavian for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to sponsor an opening, I am going to try to figure out some times where we can do some live streams, where we can do some like slots where people can pay, and I can have a build up of products to open up for live streams and just kind of shoot the breeze with everybody. And I think that doing videos like this will be fun in the future, just to open up some content and then ship it out to patrons. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.